coach Jamie Heiberger Harrison here today teaching cultural competency. And I will be joined by Ethan Schimel, who is a family friend and part of the LGBT community, and very excited to have him here. Hi there.
Hey Jamie,
Hi, Ethan. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing okay. And like you, most of the people on here are real estate brokers as well. I guess are you a sales agent? What's your exact title at this point?
Yeah, you could say sales agent, salesperson, real estate agent. It's all pretty much in one.
Yeah, yeah. I was even reflecting on a couple of things you and I talked about when we were saying, well, what are we going to discuss here? And I was saying to you how, look, cultural competency comes up in every single facet of every single business, and how I even see chauvinism in my business world, or in, even in my, even it's happens in my own company. And so it's we see, like, I know you're familiar also, I was talking about before you came on here, the fair housing disclosure notice that all agents have to provide. That's such a great example of where New York has kind of made this focus on taking a stance on encouraging education,
No,
encouraging
yeah,
people to,
definitely.
right? So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here was for your own personal experiences and what you've seen, coming in. Forget, it doesn't matter about real estate. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do and what your background is first. And then I think it would be great just for somebody who kind of is newer to the workforce, right? Having not that long ago graduated. Uh, I believe sports management was your program at Syracuse. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And so tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
Yeah, so I'm currently 25 years old. I graduated in 2021 from Syracuse University. I majored in sports management at the David B. Falk School in Human Dynamic. I'm currently working for New York City Football Club. Also as well working for New York or New Jersey, New York Gotham FC, which is the women's New York City soccer team, and then obviously doing real estate as well currently. Yeah, I obviously studied sports in college, and I love working in the sports industry, but I've always had an interest in real estate as well. Got my license, took all the tests and courses, and got my license around over a little over the summer in the fall area. Joined with Platinum Properties, and have been with Platinum since January. So, like you were saying with the fair housing, we deal like with that obviously with every client. You have to present them that. And it's interesting because obviously that's such a crucial piece for every agent to like know, those laws and to present that to a client. But when I was looking for an apartment only, like maybe a year out of college in 2022, I was dealing with an agent that didn't show me any of that and didn't really walk me through the whole process of everything I needed to know, and kind of just like rushed me into signing. So it was good to see when I was on the other side, like, okay, like that's not the way to do it. You have to kind of walk, clients through the process and explain, all these different types of laws and things that they should know.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I didn't even know that story that you had yourself, but I do remember when you were getting your own place. Yeah, I mean, it's not even just this notice. It's when we took when it's there's so many rules that have now come out, and it's not just, and I'm sure you have this even at your peak at working for the New York Football Club. I'm sure that when you came in there, there are certain rules that are posted, whether they're on the website or internally, that ways of conduct that you have to follow even there, not just at the real estate, with the real estate company, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, we had a whole training orientation for like almost an entire week of just like the exact guidelines, and like obviously specifications that they want us to follow, and obviously, rules are rules. You got to follow them,
Right,
in whatever job you're doing.
right, right. And in just in terms of, for me, when I was going through the workforce, going before judges, I think to a certain extent, one of the reasons why I'm how I am, we are all a product of stuff that's gone on when we were younger or the role that we take. And for me, it was creating this very tough persona, so to speak, in the business world, because I've been in it for over 35 years now, and it was different. These rules, they did not exist. I'm not even sure. I think even if we look at like financially, how men were paid when I entered the workforce versus women, I'm pretty sure that it was still a huge difference. And so, when I have people come on and I'm teaching this class, it's always great to hear if there's any personal experiences that you've had and why you think, creating a culturally competent environment, whether it's on a real estate team or in any type of company, is so important.
Yeah, no, it's definitely obviously like a crucial piece of any industry, team, organization. You want to obviously like build a workforce or a work environment that like everybody feels comfortable in. With real estate, obviously there's, a vast variety of people that you're going to encounter, whether it's within your own real estate brokerage or, a client that you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to you never know what type of person you're going to meet. And, with the soccer teams that I work for, there's so many, international aspects of it where you get people from all over the world who are covering the game, who are coming to watch the game, who don't speak English. So it's definitely, you want to create an environment where everybody's welcome, no matter where they're from or who they are. So that's obviously like a huge, piece to any industry, any organization, soccer, real estate, it's definitely crucial to build that like inclusive, safe environment.
Absolutely. It's funny. I and I brought this up to you because it it's funny how much it bothered me when I heard this story when you were interviewing and somebody commented on your earrings. And I guess maybe, back in the day, I think that there were offices that you actually couldn't, like men, you could not wear earrings or people couldn't wear certain clothing. And you can't do that these days. You can't do that. And it was amazing to me that somebody made a comment about the earrings, just because in this day and age, who makes those comments? What is that, right?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a shock to me as well. People who are watching the can't. I do have like little hoop earrings on right now. I have my nails painted, and when I had spoken to this person, about interviewing, and I was on a Zoom call just like this. They had noticed my earrings, and they had obviously brought that up and said, that it's not an issue, but it could drive potential interviewers or other people away, which I thought was interesting, obviously, given the time and the world we live in today, and just that they would, kind of signal that out, which kind of was a shock to me. That was like honestly, that was my second experience kind of interviewing and somebody saying, "Oh, that's not like what they were looking for, or they noticed it." I also I had an interview with WME, and they required me to wear a button-down shirt and a tie. And I usually typically wear, more dresses or skirts or more feminine attire to work, whether it's soccer or real estate.
Mhm.
So when they had said that to me, like, "Oh, we expect you to look a certain way," it kind of puts you in a box and
Mhm.
doesn't give you that freedom and comfortability to be yourself, within, a company organization. And who wants to work in an environment like that where you don't feel comfortable being yourself and they kind of try to make you look a certain type of way. So both those were, shocks to me, coming out of college in 2021 and interviewing and having those experiences early were definitely a little scary, but they definitely kind of also helped me at the same time. Just want to be, determined to be even more myself in the workforce and, find a place that was, the right spot for me that I could feel comfortable as myself.
I mean, I have chills. I have goosebumps right now, I swear, because you and I were talking, and I was, I mean, I'm a huge Ethan fan. I love you. I adore you. Your mom's my best friend
I'm
for,
a huge Jamie fan too.
thank you. You know, for so long. I've known you since you were born. And when you and I were talking, and there was some place I was going to introduce you to, and you asked me, you said, is it okay if I were to wear a dress? And for the place it was going, I really thought it wasn't.
Mhm.
Not because I cared, but because I felt that, yeah, you know what, it would be too conservative. And I thought a lot about that. And it makes me so happy because you're right, you know, and you were at a different place then also, right? Because you're looking to get in somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and then
No.
it's like that struggle of, do I suck up certain things and take the job even though I'm not entirely comfortable? And you were awesome because you were kind of willing to do that on some level because you wanted to be, you know, you were looking for, where am I going to go? Where am I going to land? I want to meet people, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
No, yeah,
Seriously.
and like you said, like, joining like new places or interviewing at, a place that maybe might be more conservative than others, it's okay to kind of ease into it, that's what I've realized. Like when I started working at the soccer team, right away I didn't start wearing, dresses or skirts to the games. I was wearing a suit just because that's what my boss said he wears, and that's what he said. He expects us to dress very formally for, events or games that we're working. And obviously, when I first got there, I didn't want to, I'm pretty low on the totem pole, trying to make a name for myself. Wasn't really trying to rub anyone the wrong way. So I would wear suits the first season I worked there, and then this season I started to do that again, and was debating whether or not this was the right time. I want to possibly even lose my job. I really just trying to keep my foot in the door and just work. But I decided, I have to be all in on this and I have to be true to myself. And I started dressing how I wanted to games, and it's been a non-issue at all. People have complimented me within the team. If anything, it makes me more noticeable, I would think. There's not too many guys wearing dresses or skirts at sporting events usually, or at least that work for many like sport organizations in any sport. So I think it's only helped me. I do think that it was like perfect timing, kind of wearing suits, not conforming at the beginning, but easing into it, really learning, the people I was going to be working with, the environment, and just getting used to that whole environment and, everything as a whole, just so I could feel more comfortable when I was ready to start dressing how I wanted to.
It's the confidence and comfort in who you are is like radiating, Ethan, radiating. Keep just doing what you're doing. It's really, there are people that will be watching this and have their own children that, you know, that they may identify as both, they may identify as the opposite of what they were born, you know, and it's so encouraging for them to sit
Yeah,
here and you feel so good in your own skin. And really, I mean, look, you're defying the odds in terms of even the career move, because typically sports, right, just like you said, it's not, and what's going to happen is there are probably a lot of kids out there half your age. How old are you now?
25.
Okay, so there's kids out there half your age, in between, whatever, and they may love sports. I mean, I remember how much you love sports. You were always playing sports. You wanted to know everything about sports. You got into a very prestigious school over there at Syracuse for sports management. And I told you this yesterday when mom said to me, when your mom said, he wants to do sports, but what does sports mean? You know, and guess what? You found your little niche, and congrats. I mean, you started off with one team. Now, how many teams are you working with?
Yeah, I started off with one. Now I have two teams and I work for the minor league team as well, so it's like kind of three. But yeah, it definitely keeps me busy and I love it. I was not the biggest soccer fan coming into it, but now I definitely appreciate soccer a lot more just from watching hundreds of games recently.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a reason why it's probably one of the most popular sports outside of our country. Um, yeah, I think it's great, Ethan. And you know, it's from a real estate perspective, there's a lot. keep yourself, definitely keep one foot in, because I know that most of the real estate companies out there, probably yours as well, I believe that they all have a sports and entertainment department where the company works with professional athletes. And certainly with your background, you might end up, who knows, maybe you'll be the person to help house the athletes when they come into town. And
No, yeah,
so,
definitely.
you might be finding yourself, this is what I mean. This falls right into innovation, creating an innovative culture, doing something a little bit different. I'm really curious, Ethan, with your background, if you were to take, you know, if you were to take, let's say, sports and the opportunities available in the LGBTQ community, let's say, do you think that the opportunities are, I hate to say it so simplistically, but is it fair? Or do you see a need for improvement there?
Definitely, I think there's always room for improvement for sure. And I think in a lot of sports, it's still not, I guess I would say the norm. You don't really see a lot of people from the LGBTQ community within at least, not even just the sports industry as a whole, but specifically men's sports. Obviously working for a men's soccer team and a women's soccer team, there's definitely a whole different vibe of acceptance within women's sports. And I don't know if it's because of just women and men, type of typical views towards the LGBTQ community, but definitely within men's sports, there is need for improvement. And even just from my personal experience, at other companies, in the sports industry, it's definitely not, I would say, a priority to, to have LGBTQ inclusion or, have special events that, shines light on the community. So I definitely think there's room for improvement. And even when I was applying to jobs and clicking off certain boxes in my, resume, for, recruiters, companies, I kind of felt like clicking certain boxes might have hindered my ability to get a job within the sports industry or at certain companies. So I think that's also a huge issue that we have some certain boxes specifically towards the LGBTQ community that kind of signals us out, and it may hurt us actually more than it helps us.
It's you get this really fine line, because right now, as you know, from not that long ago graduating college and having siblings, we've now had this reverse discrimination, or affirmative action, I should say, where now there's changes being made because schools were allotting a certain amount of students to come in, and they had to fit a certain demographic, right? And
Mhm.
now people turn around and say, hey, this is BS, right? I have a kid that has a 4-0 that is, a white American from, Westchester, Scarsdale, wherever it's from, and they didn't get in, but somebody with lesser grades from, whatever, we all know what I'm talking about. And so there's this push to not do it. But then again, the reason why that existed was because we were trying to create more inclusiveness, the same way that there's these rules on housing. You can't turn around as a real estate broker and say, hey, I think that somebody comes in, they're from they're from Turkey. And you say, you know what, let's go show you places in Astoria. Because or you think that people that came from Turkey, there's a big Turkish population living in Astoria. You don't do that. We're not allowed to do that. But at the same token, if we don't talk about the elephant in the room, then it's not going to get better either. I almost see it's like you're almost creating this new position probably in the sports world, because just like, coaches that work with teams, not on the field but off the field, right? There's a lot of that goes on there. um there are people that come in and speak to, not always. I don't know what goes on, let's say in the soccer community, but I'm sure that behind the scenes there are psychiatrists, psychologists, people coming in there just to get them mentally tough, get them focused, change their mindset. And so I think that, just as you're saying, I think that maybe there's this need for people that do want to enter the sports world and feel that the opportunity is not there, and maybe someone like you or you personally will create a situation where there is that avenue where people can go and help them get in there. No different than, the sports agent representing the players to pick the right team for them. It's so, I think it's great. I think that you're onto something. You may not know exactly what it is yet, but it sounds like you really are.
Yeah, yeah, definitely just enjoy working in the sports industry. Sports as a whole is definitely my passion. And even the real estate industry. It's just such a great industry to learn, to have knowledge about just for, life and maybe, even investment purposes. And it's a lot of life lessons within real estate as well. So it's definitely two great industries that I'm in. And I've met tons of people that I've have friends in both industries now, which is great, and just met a lot of great, interesting people. So definitely have enjoyed my time in both, and gonna continue to keep working at both.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I wanted to just comment on something you said also, which is you brought up how on the women's teams you see that it's a lot more openness, and it's there's there's less resistance to it. It's out there more. It's more accepted. Whatever it is, it's a more comfortable environment. And I think that to an extent, you're in a very unique position because what you're seeing that there's women's genes, whether, and men and women, we both, when women have testosterone in their bodies, men and women both have different hormones going on that the other sex also has, and different levels of it might create different emotions. And women in general are more they're sensitive, they think differently. There's been movies, there's been books, there's men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And so, you have a lot of that. And I think that I don't know that many people that I've met that can understand both perspectives. And I think that it sounds like you're in a unique position to be able to understand both perspectives, which is why falling into a communications role might be just an amazing piece for you you
Yeah,
know
definitely. I feel like I'm in a very unique position where I can relate to a lot of people on a very big spectrum. And like you said, being in communications where your job is to literally communicate verbally, written, to men, women, everyone else in between, and kind of not only just work with them but build a rapport and have a personal connection as well. So it's definitely a great position to be in for myself. I used to be scared of these things or want to hide these things. And now it's like my superpower almost in,
I
not only
love
just
that.
the workforce, but just life in general. So it's great. It's great to be me.
It is I have chills again. I literally have chills. I have goosebumps on my body from it, because and you're so lucky. You really are. You're so lucky because so many people, I know so many people in the industry that it took till they were 40 years old before they would have been sitting here having this conversation. And they felt it from the time they were a child. And that's so sad, right? Like, you deserve to be comfortable. Who's to say what anybody should be wearing or what that means or anything like that? I learned a ton from you. I really did. And I wouldn't be surprised if your presence and your role, at the New York Football Club on the various teams, I wouldn't be surprised if you're changing the culture there. You're
Yeah,
adding to
yeah,
change.
I hope so. That's kind of like the goal as well, with my journey in the sports industry is to not only just, have career goals myself, but hopefully kind of change the industry as well. show people that people like me, people from the LGBTQ community, that look a little different from the average person, do like sports, want to work in sports. And also for any, one who, maybe sees me and is scared to get into the industry, and be themselves, or get into a different industry and be themselves, maybe there's just a little more extra motivation that, like, oh wow, like he's wearing, a dress at a professional soccer game, like working for the team. Like I could wear a dress to my, accountant job, or, dress, in a suit to my, whatever job they have.
To
So
my college graduation with my cap and gown and my high tops,
yeah, exactly.
which
Exactly.
was surrounded by your frat boys who love
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, definitely,
right?
that was, a great outfit for, graduating for
That's
sure.
right. It sure was.
Thank
Yep,
you.
you know,
I appreciate it. It's still a lot of work.
of
Still, a
course.
lot more of the journey to go. It's not all, glamorous and, great. There's a lot of times where it's, a lot of struggle, but there's, a lot of work. You just have to keep moving and just gotta make the best of every situation you get.
Kudos to you, Ethan. Thank you so much for being here. You are a superstar. Keep doing it. Keep us in
Yeah,
touch.
no problem. Thank you for having me, Jamie. And if anyone ever wants to reach out, my email is shimelethan@gmail.com. It's SCHIMEL and then Ethan@gmail.com. Just shimelethan@gmail.
Okay, fantastic, everyone. Thanks, Ethan. Have yourself a great day.